The Day Humans Abandoned Diplomacy, and the Galaxy Fell, Silent Part 1. First Contact Gone. Wrong Commander Jack Nelson looked out the viewport of the USS Horizon as the massive space station came into view. The Galactic Council headquarters was a marvel of engineering, a spinning wheel of gleaming metal that housed representatives from over 300 alien species. Today, humanity would ask to join them. Nervous? Asked Lisa Carter, standing beside him. Her dark hair was pulled back in a neat bun, and her blue diplomatic uniform stood in stark contrast to Jack's military dress. Should I be? Jack kept his eyes on the approaching station. Lisa sighed. We're the new kids on the block, Jack. First species to achieve faster-than-light travel in this sector in over 2 centuries. They'll be watching us closely. The year was 2157. Humanity had spread throughout the solar system, with thriving colonies on Mars and Europa. The development of the Gibson Drive just 3 years ago had opened the stars to human exploration. And then, they had received the message from the Galactic Council, inviting Earth to send representatives. The USS Horizon docked with a gentle thud. Jack, Lisa, and 3 other diplomats prepared to disembark. Dr. Sam Miller, the team's xenobiologist, was practically bouncing with excitement. This is history, Sam whispered, adjusting his glasses. First official contact with the Galactic Council. The airlock hissed open. Standing before them were 3 aliens. The central figure was tall and slender with pale blue skin and 4 arms. To its left stood a bulky reptilian being with scales that shifted color like oil on water. On the right was a short, furry creature with 3 eyes and a breathing apparatus. Welcome, said the blue alien in perfect English. I am Delegate Zorn of the Zorlian Confederation. The Council welcomes the representatives of Earth. Jack stepped forward. Commander Jack Nelson of the United Earth Government. We're honored to be here. The reptilian being made a sound like grinding metal. Zorn's upper arms moved in a dismissive gesture. Yes, quite, Zorn said. Follow me. The Council is assembled. They were led through corridors filled with strange beings. Some floated in anti-gravity fields. Others moved on many legs or no legs at all. All of them stared at the humans with expressions ranging from curiosity to open disgust. The council chamber was enormous, a vast amphitheater with hundreds of pods holding various species. At the center was a raised platform where the humans were directed to stand. The Earth delegation may now present their petition, announced a booming voice. Lisa stepped forward confidently. Honorable members of the Galactic Council, humanity stands before you today seeking friendship and cooperation. We bring with us a rich culture, scientific innovation, and a deep desire to learn from our galactic neighbors. Her speech continued, for 10 minutes outlining human achievements and aspirations. When she finished, there was silence. Then, laughter erupted from several pods. Zorn rose from his seat among the Zorlian delegation. The Council appreciates Earth's enthusiasm. However, our preliminary assessment has determined that humans are still a developing species. Your technology is primitive by our standards. Your biology is inefficient. Your social structures are chaotic. We've built thriving colonies on hostile worlds, Jack interrupted, earning a sharp look from Lisa. We developed faster-than-light travel independently. Yes, centuries after other species, Zorn replied smoothly. The Gibson Drive is quite crude compared to our methods, and your tendency to interrupt demonstrates the very impulsiveness we find concerning. The reptilian delegate stood. These barely evolved primates would be a liability to the Council. I propose observation status for at least 100 years. Murmurs of agreement filled the chamber. Lisa's face remained calm, but Jack could see the anger in her eyes. The Earth delegation requests time to address these concerns, she said. Granted, Zorn replied. But our assessment is unlikely to change. Humanity requires guidance before it can join galactic society. Hours later, after presenting additional evidence and arguments that were dismissed or mocked, the humans returned to their ship. Jack punched a wall in frustration. They've already decided, he growled. This was just for show. Lisa nodded, her face grim. They called us barely evolved primates. They don't respect us at all. Sam looked devastated. What do we do now? Lisa stared out at the space station, her eyes hard. We go home. We prepare. And we remember that those who underestimate humanity have always regretted it. As the USS Horizon broke away from the station, Jack couldn't help but feel they were leaving behind more than just a failed diplomatic mission. They were leaving behind humanity's innocence about its place in the universe. The galaxy had spoken, and humanity had listened. Image description for Leonardo AI. A futuristic scene showing a human diplomatic team in formal blue uniforms facing a council of alien beings in a vast amphitheater-like chamber. The central alien has blue skin and 4 arms, while various exotic alien species observe from seating pods arranged in tiers around the room. The human team looks small but defiant as they stand on a central platform beneath dramatic overhead lighting that casts long shadows. The architecture features sleek metallic surfaces with glowing blue energy patterns. The day humans abandoned diplomacy, and the galaxy fell silent. Part 2, The Patience of Humanity. 10 years passed since the humiliating first contact with the Galactic Council. The Earth had changed. On the surface, humans played their part as the developing species that needed guidance. Behind closed doors, they prepared. Dr. Alan Price had not slept in 3 days. His office at the Lunar Research Facility was filled with holographic displays, showing alien energy signatures. Cups of cold coffee littered his desk. I found it, he whispered to himself, his eyes red from lack of sleep. The pattern in the Zorlian defense grid. He pressed a button on his desk. Get me Admiral Weber now. 30 minutes later, Admiral Susan Weber stood in Alan's office. Her gray uniform bore the insignia of Project Sentinel, a program unknown to the public and certainly unknown to the Galactic Council. This better be good, Alan. I was in the middle of a training exercise. Alan pointed to the largest display. Look at these energy fluctuations. Every 47 minutes the Zorlian defense systems cycle. There's a 3-second window where their sensors are blind. Susan's eyes widened. 3 seconds is enough. For a ship with our new stealth tech, more than enough. Back on Earth, in the underground chambers beneath Geneva, the United Earth government was in session. President Eric Bowman looked tired as he addressed the world's leaders. The Council has demanded we dismantle our colony on Ganymede. They claim it violates their restrictions on our development. Vice President Maria Lopez stood up. That's the 4th restriction this month. First Mars mining operations, then the Europa research station, now Ganymede. They're pushing to see how far we'll bend, said General Frank Martinez. While they think we're complying, Project Sentinel has built 50 ships with the new stealth systems. And the language analysis? Asked President Bowman. The Director of Intelligence, Olivia Grant, spoke up. We've been monitoring their communications for years. Our AIs can now perfectly mimic all 7 major council languages, including Zorlian. The meeting continued for hours as they discussed Earth's secret preparations. No one outside this room knew that humans had broken the Council's rules against advanced AI research, or that Earth ships regularly slipped past Council patrols to gather intelligence. In space dock above Mars, Captain Daniel Hayes watched as workers put the finishing touches on the UES Nightshade. The ship was unlike anything humans had built before. Sleek, black, and virtually undetectable. She's beautiful, said Lieutenant Amy Chen, standing beside him. And deadly, Daniel replied. Top speed twice what the Council thinks we're capable of, weapons they don't know we understand. When do we deploy? Soon. We're just waiting for the Council to make their final mistake. That mistake came sooner than expected. On Earth, Lisa Carter, now Earth's official ambassador to the Council, sat across from Delegate Zorn. The Zorlian hadn't aged a day in 10 years, his blue skin still smooth, all 4 arms moving with precise gestures as he spoke. The Council has decided that Earth requires more direct supervision, Zorn said. We will establish a monitoring outpost on your moon. Lisa kept her face neutral. though anger boiled beneath. That seems unnecessary. We have complied with all restrictions. It is not a request, Ambassador Carter. The outpost will be established within 1 Earth month. Lisa thought of the ships hiding in the shadow of Neptune, the weapons Earth had, developed by studying stolen Council technology, the agents placed on Council worlds. 10 years of patience of playing weak while growing strong. I will inform my government, she said calmly. Later that night, Lisa sat in President Bowman's office with Admiral Weber and Dr. Price. A monitoring outpost on the moon would detect Project Sentinel, Admiral Weber said. We can't allow it. President Bowman nodded slowly. Then the time for patience is nearly over. He turned to Lisa. Keep them talking. Make them think we're considering their demand. And meanwhile, Lisa asked. Meanwhile, we finish our preparations. Bowman looked at the star map on his wall, where small lights indicated human presence, both known and secret, throughout the solar system. The Council believes they know what humans are capable of. It's time they UI. The day humans abandoned diplomacy, and the galaxy fell silent. Part 3. The final insult. The alarm blared through the Ganymede colony at 0400 Earth time. Governor Paul Wright was pulled from sleep by his aide. Sir, we have 5 unidentified ships entering orbit. Paul rushed to the command center. The colony, home to 12,000 humans, was not built for defense. It was a mining and research station, harvesting rare metals from Jupiter's moon. Get me a visual, Paul ordered. The screen showed 5 ships, their hulls bearing the markings of the Zorlian Confederation. They were not supposed to be here. No Council ships had permission to enter the Sol system without prior notice. Open a channel, Paul said, straightening his uniform. When the screen changed to show a blue, 4-armed Zorlian, he spoke firmly. This is Governor Wright of Ganymede Colony. You have entered Earth space without authorization. State your purpose. The Zorlian commander's upper arms crossed in what humans had learned was a gesture of dismissal. I am Commander Krell of the Zorlian Defense Force. By order of the Galactic Council, we are establishing a monitoring outpost on this moon. Paul felt his face grow hot. There has been no agreement for an outpost. Please withdraw until proper diplomatic channels. The Council does not require your permission. Krelly interrupted. Prepare a landing zone for our shuttles. We will begin construction immediately. The screen went dark. Paul looked at his senior staff, all wearing expressions of shock and anger. Contact Earth, he said quietly. 8 hours later, a small diplomatic ship from Earth arrived. On board were 5 officers led by Commander Ben Harris. They requested a meeting with the Zorlian commander, who had already landed and begun setting up equipment on Ganymede's surface. The meeting took place in a small conference room in the colony. Ben sat across from Commander Krell, trying to keep his voice level. This facility violates multiple treaties between Earth and the Council, Ben explained. We request that you halt construction until our governments can... Your government has no standing to make requests, Krell interrupted. The monitoring station will ensure humans do not exceed development restrictions. Ben leaned forward. At least allow us to inspect the equipment you're installing. Our scans show power readings consistent with weapons, not monitoring devices. The 4 Zorlian officers with Krell shifted uncomfortably. Krell's skin darkened slightly. A sign of anger, Ben knew. You dare question the Council's intentions? Krell stood, looming over the table. Your primitive scans are flawed. This outpost is for your own protection. Protection from what? Asked Lieutenant Sarah Foster, one of Ben's team. From yourselves, Krell snapped. Humans are too aggressive, too unpredictable. The Council has decided more direct oversight is required. Ben stood as well. We cannot allow armed outposts in our system. The treaties clearly. The sound of a weapon charging cut him off. One of the Zorlian officers had drawn what looked like a small silver tube. The discussion is over, Krell said coldly. Return to your ship. The outpost will be completed within 1 Earth day. Ben nodded to his team. They began filing out, but Sarah stopped at the door. This is wrong, she said. You know it's wrong. The Zorlian with the weapon stepped toward her. Ben moved to pull Sarah back, but too late. A flash of blue light filled the room. When it cleared, 5 human officers lay on the floor. None were moving. Back on Earth, President Nathan Reeves stood before the United Earth government in emergency session. His face was grim as he delivered the news. The Zorlian commander claims our officers became violent, that they drew weapons first. The council has reviewed the evidence and ruled the deaths justified. Shouts of outrage filled the chamber. The council further states, Reeves continued, raising his voice, that this incident proves humans require stricter oversight. More outposts will be established throughout our system. Silence fell. It was the final insult after years of condescension and control. President Reeves straightened his shoulders. I have recalled all Earth ambassadors from Council space. As of this moment, diplomatic relations with the Galactic Council are suspended. He looked around the room, meeting the eyes of Earth's leaders. We extended our hand in friendship. They responded with contempt. Diplomacy has failed. Admiral Susan Weber stood at the back of the chamber. She touched the communicator on her wrist and whispered a single word. Begin. Image description for Leonardo AI. A tense confrontation in a sterile, futuristic conference room on Jupiter's moon Ganymede. On one side of a metallic table stands a tall, blue-skinned alien with 4 arms in an imposing stance, his skin darkening with anger. Facing him are 5 human officers in uniform, looking determined but outmatched. One Zorlian officer points a small, silver tube-like weapon that glows with blue energy. Through the room's viewport, Jupiter looms large in the black sky, and partially constructed alien structures can be seen on the moon's surface. The lighting is harsh and clinical, creating sharp shadows that emphasize the dangerous standoff. The day humans abandoned diplomacy, and the galaxy fell. Silent Part 4. Silent preparation. The Galactic Council was confused. For 2 weeks, Earth had been silent. No transmissions, no diplomatic messages, not even the usual reports that Earth was required to send. The human ambassadors' offices on Council worlds stood empty. In the Council chamber, Delegate Zorn addressed his peers. The humans are sulking like children. They will return when they realize they need us. The reptilian delegate hissed in agreement. Their primitive economies cannot function without Council trade networks. But deep in space, far from prying eyes, humanity was anything but silent. At Neptune's dark side, hidden in the shadow of the massive planet, a fleet was gathering. Captain Daniel Hayes stood on the bridge of the UES Nightshade, watching as more ships arrived. Each vessel was sleek, black, and virtually invisible to conventional sensors. That's the 38th ship to join us, said Lieutenant Amy Chen. The Valiant just arrived from Saturn. And the Council suspects nothing? Daniel asked. Not according to our intelligence. They think we're licking our wounds. Daniel smiled grimly. Let them think that. Meanwhile, in a secure bunker beneath the Rocky Mountains, Admiral Susan Weber coordinated the largest military operation in human history. Wall-sized screens showed the positions of Earth's secret fleet throughout the solar system and beyond. Status. Report on the infiltration teams, she ordered. Colonel Greg Young stepped forward. All teams are in position, Admiral. We have agents on 23 Council worlds, including the Zorlian homeworld. And the quantum disruptor? Dr. Catherine Mitchell looked up from her workstation. At 32, she was the youngest person in the room, but her mind had unlocked the secrets of the Council's quantum communication network. Final tests complete, she said, pushing her glasses up her nose. The device works perfectly. When activated, it will sever all quantum communications within a 50 light-year radius. Susan nodded. And they have no backup systems? None that we've detected. The Council has relied on quantum communications for so long they've forgotten how to use anything else. Across the room, Major John Peterson was monitoring Council ship movements. Admiral, the Zorlians have sent 2 more vessels to Ganymede. Their outpost is now fully operational. Susan's face hardened. What kind of weapons are we looking at? Energy cannons capable of hitting Earth from Jupiter's orbit. They could destroy a city with one shot. The room fell silent. Susan turned to the central screen, where a countdown timer showed 48:17:23. 2 days until the operation began. They think we're helpless, she said quietly. They've never faced a species that hit back. In Geneva, President Nathan Reeves met with his closest advisors. The meeting was not on any official schedule, and the room had been swept for listening devices 3 times. The Council has increased patrols near Mars, said Defense Secretary Peter Graham. They say it's routine, but they're looking for us. Let them look, Reeves replied. Our ships won't be found unless we want them to be. Foreign Secretary Linda Martinez spoke next. We've received back-channel messages from 3 other developing species. They're watching how we respond to the Council's aggression. Are they offering support? Reeves asked. Not openly. They're too afraid of Council retaliation, but they want us to succeed. Reeves walked to the window, looking out at the peaceful city below. Citizens went about their lives unaware of the massive operation unfolding across the solar system. Have we confirmed that the Zorlian outpost is indeed a weapons platform? He asked. Yes, sir, Graham replied. Our deep cover agent on Ganymede sent the final schematics last night. It's more powerful than we thought. They could wipe out half of Earth's major cities within minutes. And their excuse? The same as always. They claim it's to protect us from ourselves. Reeves turned back to the room, his decision made. No, more delays. Approve the operation. Back in space, the UES Nightshade received the coded transmission. Captain Hayes gathered his crew on the bridge. We have our orders, he said simply. The mission is approved. Amy Chen looked at the star chart where the Zorlian homeworld glowed red. How many ships will join us for the primary strike? Just us, Daniel replied. 1 ship, 1 message. The crew exchanged nervous glances. We need to show them, Daniel continued, that humans don't need overwhelming force, that even one of our ships is more than they can handle. The Day Humans Abandoned Diplomacy and the Galaxy Fell Silent Part 5. The first strike, the Zorlian homeworld of Zorlia Prime glowed blue-green in the light of its twin suns. The capital city was alive with celebration, its spires lit with colorful lights for the Festival of Ascendancy. Millions of Zorlians filled the streets, their forearms raised in celebration of their 5,000 years as a galactic power. High Delegate Zorn stood on a platform above the central plaza, addressing the crowd through floating speakers that carried his voice across the city. For 5 millennia, the Zorlian Confederation has guided lesser species toward civilization, he proclaimed. Our wisdom has prevented countless wars. Our technology has lifted primitive beings from their home, planets. The crowd cheered, their blue skin shimmering in the festival lights. Even now, Zorn continued, we guide the newest species to stumble upon faster-than-light travel. The humans, violent, emotional creatures, require our firm hand to... A murmur ran through the crowd. Zorn stopped speaking. People were pointing to the sky. Something impossible was happening. A ship had appeared in the atmosphere. A black ship, sleek and predatory, unlike any Council design. It hovered directly above the central plaza. Engines, silent weapons ports closed. In the Zorlian Defense Command, alarms blared. General Krez, brother of Commander Krell from Ganymede, shouted at his officers. How did it get past our sensors? Where did it come from? Unknown, General, replied a EI, frightened officer. It appeared from nowhere. Our scans can't penetrate its hull. Launch interceptors, all of them. In the UES Nightshade, Captain Daniel Hayes sat calmly in the command chair. The bridge was silent except for the soft beeping of instruments. They've spotted us, Lieutenant Amy Chen reported. Zorlian defense grid is activating. Interceptors launching. Let them come, Daniel said. Are we broadcasting on all frequencies? Yes, Captain. They can all hear us. Daniel leaned forward slightly. This is Captain Daniel Hayes of the United Earth ship Nightshade. I bring a message from Earth. On the planet below, in homes and public squares across the Zorlian homeworld, screens and holographic displays suddenly showed Daniel's face. His human features looked alien and strange to the Zorlians watching. 10 years ago, Daniel continued, Earth came to you in peace. We were met with ridicule and restrictions. 2 weeks ago, your forces killed 5 of our diplomats on Ganymede and established weapons platforms capable of destroying our cities. In the central plaza, Zorn's 4 hands trembled. This was impossible. The humans had no way to broadcast on the secure Zorlian network. They had no ships that could evade detection. You believed us weak? Daniel's voice continued, echoing across the planet. You believed us primitive. You should have listened. Suddenly, reports began flooding into Zorlian Defense Command. General Krez stared in disbelief at the incoming data. Sir, we're getting reports of human ships in orbit around 27 Council worlds. They appeared simultaneously. All major defense installations are being targeted. Impossible, Krez shouted. The humans have no fleet. On the Nightshade, Daniel received confirmation that Project Sentinel vessels were in position throughout Council space. Every major world, every strategic installation, every military base was now under watch by stealth ships that had slipped past the Council's vaunted defenses. The United Earth Government makes the following demand, Daniel announced. All Council forces will withdraw from the Sol system immediately. All restrictions on human development will be lifted. You have 1 hour to comply. In the Council chamber, delegates from 300 species gathered in emergency session. The holographic projection of Captain Hayes floated above them, his message playing on repeat. Panic spread through the chamber. This is a bluff, insisted the reptilian delegate. The humans cannot have built such a fleet without our knowledge. Then explain how their ships evaded our most advanced detection systems, countered another delegate. Explain how they took control of our communication networks. On Earth, President Nathan Reeves watched the video feed from the Nightshade. He turned to Admiral Susan Weber, who stood beside him in the command center. Have all our ships reported in? Yes, Mr. President, every target is covered. Our agents have disabled key defensive systems on all major Council worlds. And if they refuse our demands? Susan's face was grim. Then we proceed to Phase 2, on O. The Zorlian homeworld. General Krez ordered his interceptors to surround the human ship. 30 Zorlian fighters, the pride of their fleet, took up positions around the Nightshade. Fire warning shots, Krez commanded. Show them our power. Energy beams lanced toward the Earth vessel. At the last moment, they curved away. Deflected by shields the Zorlians didn't know humans possessed. In the central plaza, Zorn watched the display with growing horror. The hour was nearly up and the Council had made no decision. On the Nightshade, Daniel Hayes checked the time. 1 minute remaining, Lieutenant. Any response from the Council? Amy shook her head. Nothing official, just panic and confusion. Daniel nodded slowly. Then they leave us no choice. He opened a channel to all Earth ships. This is Captain Hayes. The deadline has passed. Commence Phase 2. I repeat, commence Phase 2. Across Council space, humanity prepared to show the galaxy exactly what happened when diplomacy failed. Image description for Leonardo AI. A sleek, black human spacecraft hovers ominously in the alien sky above a vast alien city. The city is filled with futuristic blue-green spires lit with festival lights while millions of blue-skinned four-armed Zorlians look up in shock and fear. In the foreground stands High Delegate Zorn on an elevated platform, his 4 hands raised in alarm, his blue skin contrasting with ornate ceremonial robes. The twin suns of the Zorlian homeworld cast an eerie light on the scene while 30 smaller Zorlian interceptor ships approach the human vessel. The human ship, the UES Nightshade, remains motionless with a subtle blue glow around it, suggesting advanced shield technology, creating a tense moment before the impending confrontation. The Day Humans Abandoned Diplomacy and the Galaxy Fell Silent Part 6. The Day the Galaxy Fell Silent, Dr. Catherine Mitchell sat in the control room of Earth's quantum research facility, her fingers hovering over a glowing blue button. She looked up at the large screen showing Admiral Susan Weber's face. Are you sure about this? Catherine asked. Once we activate the disruptor, there's no going back. The Council had their chance, Susan replied. Do it. Catherine pressed the button. The device hummed to life, its energy core pulsing with white light. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, across the facility's monitors, status indicators for the Council's quantum network began to flash red. "It's working," Catherine whispered. "The quantum network is collapsing. Across Council space, on hundreds of worlds, the unthinkable happened." Silence fell. The quantum communication network that had connected the Galactic Council for 3,000 years simply vanished. Screens went dark. Communication devices became useless. The constant flow of data that sustained Council civilization stopped. On the Zorlian homeworld, panic spread through the capital. General Krez stared at dead consoles as his command center plunged into darkness, emergency lights casting red shadows across blue faces. "What's happening?" he demanded. "Get the backup systems online." "Sir, there are no backup systems," an officer replied, fear in his voice. "We haven't used traditional communications in centuries." "Then how are those human ships still functioning?" Krez shouted, pointing to displays showing the UES Nightshade still hovering above the city. In orbit around Council worlds, Earth's Project Sentinel ships remained fully operational. Their human crews had trained for years to work without the quantum network, using technologies the Council had long abandoned as primitive. On the Nightshade, Captain Daniel Hayes opened a channel to the Zorlian government using old-fashioned radio waves, technology so ancient the Zorlians had almost forgotten it existed. "This is Captain Hayes to Zorlian leadership. Your quantum network has been temporarily disabled, but we can still hear you, if you remember how to use radio." Minutes passed before a shaky response came through. This is High Delegate Zorn. What have you done?" "We've shown you what primitive humans are capable of," Daniel replied calmly. "Now, let's discuss those terms again." Throughout Council, space, Earth ships began their second phase of operations. Using precision strikes, they disabled military installations, defense platforms, and weapons storage facilities. No civilian targets were hit. No lives were taken. It was a surgical demonstration of power. On the Council capital world, the delegates gathered in their chamber, now lit by emergency lights. Without their quantum network, many species couldn't communicate with their homeworlds. Those that could used technologies they had nearly forgotten. "How could this happen?" demanded the reptilian delegate. "How could humans do this to us?" An older delegate from a species known for their long memory spoke quietly. "We treated them as lesser beings. We mocked them, restricted them, killed their diplomats, and all the while they were watching, learning, preparing." The Council, chamber doors opened. A human woman walked in. Lisa Carter, Earth's former ambassador. She looked around the room at the shocked faces of the delegates. "The United Earth government has authorized me to present our terms," she announced. Her voice was calm. "The day humans abandoned diplomacy, and the galaxy fell silent. Part 7. The new terms 3 days after humanity silenced the galaxy, limited communications were restored. Not the full quantum network, just enough for the Council to coordinate. Its response to Earth's demands. In the Great Council chamber, representatives from 300 species gathered. The mood was somber. Gone was the arrogance, the casual dismissal of lesser species. In their place was a new emotion many council members had never experienced: fear. High Delegate Zorn, his blue skin pale with stress, stood at the center of the chamber. Beside him stood Lisa Carter, once more representing Earth. "The Council has reviewed the terms presented by the United Earth government," Zorn announced, his 4 hands clasped tightly together. "After much deliberation, we have decided to accept them in full." A murmur ran through the chamber. Many delegates looked away, unable to meet Lisa's gaze. "Would you care to outline those terms for the record?" Lisa asked, her voice clear and strong in the hushed room. Zorn swallowed hard. "Earth is to be recognized as a sovereign power with full rights in Council space. All restrictions on human development and expansion are to be lifted immediately. The Zorlian Confederation will pay reparations for the deaths of Earth diplomats. On Ganymede and the illegal weapons platform in the Sol system. Lisa nodded. And the inspection protocol? Council worlds will submit to inspections by Earth representatives to ensure compliance with the new agreements, Zorn continued, his voice growing fainter. Any world found in violation will face some consequences. The chamber was silent. No protests, no objections. The mighty Galactic Council, which had ruled space for millennia, had capitulated completely to human demands. The United Earth government accepts these terms, Lisa said. As a show of good faith, we will restore partial quantum communications throughout Council space effective immediately. Thousands of light years away in the Quantum Research Facility on Earth, Dr. Catherine Mitchell received the coded message from President Reeves. She adjusted the settings on the disruptor device, allowing limited quantum signals to flow once more. Across Council space, systems flickered back to life. Not all of them. Earth was keeping its advantage, but enough for basic governance to resume. Relief spread through countless worlds as the silence was partially lifted. In the President's office in Geneva, Nathan Reeves watched the Council proceedings on a secure feed. Admiral Susan Weber stood beside him. It worked, Susan said quietly. They gave us everything we asked for. Because they had no choice, Reeves replied. We showed them what humanity is capable of when pushed too far. There will be resistance, Susan warned. Some species won't accept human equality so easily. That's why we're keeping the disruptor active at low levels, Reeves said, and why our ships will remain in position throughout Council space. Trust must be earned. Back in the Council chamber, Lisa continued her address. Earth did not want this conflict. We came to you in peace, seeking friendship and cooperation. Instead, you treated us as children, as primitives unworthy of respect. She looked around the chamber, meeting the eyes of delegates who had once mocked humanity. You mistook our patience for weakness, our diplomacy for desperation. This was your error. A small, green-skinned delegate from a world called Eridia rose from her seat. Ambassador Carter, what assurance do we have that humans will not use their power to dominate the Council as the Zorlians did? Lisa smiled slightly. Unlike some species, we don't believe advancement is measured by how many worlds you control. Earth seeks partners, not subjects. On the Zorlian homeworld, Captain Daniel Hayes prepared the Nightshade for departure. Lieutenant Amy Chen joined him on the bridge. Message from Admiral Weber, sir. We're to maintain position for another 48 hours, then return to Earth for the ceremony. Ceremony? Daniel asked. Earth is taking its seat on the Council. The President wants the Nightshade there. Says we've earned it. Daniel looked out at the Zorlian capital, still recovering from the shock of human power. What do you think, Lieutenant? Have we changed the galaxy for the better? Amy considered this. We've shown them there's a different way. That treating others with respect isn't just right, it's smart. As the news spread across the galaxy, other species that had been classified as developing watched with fascination. The humans had done what none of them dared. They had challenged the Council and won. On a dozen worlds, leaders whispered to each other about the opportunities this new order might bring. For the first time in millennia, the future of the galaxy was uncertain. And in that uncertainty lay hope for those who had been kept down for too long. The silence had been broken, and in its place came the possibility of a new conversation. One where every voice could be heard. Image description for Leonardo AI. A formal diplomatic scene inside the Grand Council chamber. At the center of a circular podium stands High Delegate Zorn, a four-armed blue alien with a now humble posture, his skin noticeably paler than before. Beside him stands Lisa Carter, a human woman in an elegant Earth diplomatic uniform looking confident and composed. Surrounding them in tiered seating are hundreds of diverse alien delegates from across the galaxy, many looking downward or whispering among themselves. The chamber's architecture is massive with towering pillars and restored, but dimmed lighting creating a solemn atmosphere. Through large windows, Earth ships can still be seen maintaining their vigilant positions. The scene captures the historic moment when the balance of power in the galaxy has officially shifted, with Earth dictating terms to the once mighty Council. Dehumans Abandoned Diplomacy, and the Galaxy Fell Silent Part 8. The Silent Guardians, 5 years passed since the day humanity abandoned diplomacy and the galaxy fell silent. The solar system had changed. Earth colonies flourished on Mars, Venus, and beyond. Human ships traveled freely through Council space, and Earth goods were traded on 1,000 worlds. Admiral Susan Weber stood on the observation deck of Harmony Station, the massive structure orbiting Jupiter that served as headquarters for the Galactic Defense Force. Below her, ships from dozens of species moved in careful formation, training for a mission that would have been unthinkable just years before. Joint exercise is going well, said Captain Daniel Hayes, now her second in command. His ship, the Nightshade, had become famous throughout the galaxy as the vessel that changed history. Better than expected, Susan agreed. The Zorlians and the Iridians are finally working together without bickering. The Galactic Council had been reformed, with Earth holding a permanent seat and veto power. The old Council's system of classifying species as developing or advanced had been abolished. In its place was a new principle. All spacefaring species were to be treated with equal respect, regardless of their technological level. Project Sentinel had evolved as well. What had once been a secret human fleet was now an open peacekeeping force with ships and crews from many worlds. Its mission, to ensure no single species could ever again dominate others through fear or force. Lisa Carter, now serving as Earth's permanent representative to the Council, joined them on the observation deck. The Novan delegation has arrived, she announced. They're requesting permission to join the Defense Force. The Novans? Daniel raised an eyebrow. They only achieved faster-than-light travel last year, and now they want to stand alongside more advanced species to protect the galaxy, Lisa said with a smile. I think that's exactly what we've been working toward. Susan nodded. Approve their request. Assign them to Training Squadron 5. On the main view screen, a message flashed. Susan read it quickly, her face growing serious. The long-range sensors have detected something, she said. A large fleet approaching from beyond the outer rim. Not Council ships. First contact? Daniel asked. Possibly. Or the Zell Collective. We've had reports they've been expanding aggressively. The Zell were a species from another galaxy, one that had been watching Council space with interest. Intelligence suggested they saw the recent power shift as an opportunity to expand their own territory. Alert all Defense Force ships, Susan ordered. Prepare for possible first contact scenario. Within hours, the Defense Force had assembled near the edge of Council space. 50 ships from 20 species formed a protective line, with the UES Nightshade taking the lead position. Long-range scans confirmed their fears. The approaching fleet belonged to the Zell Collective, a hive mind species that conquered rather than communicated. Their ships were massive, bristling with weapons. They're scanning us, Daniel reported from the Nightshade. 27 ships, heavily armed. Open a channel, Susan commanded. All frequencies. On the bridge of the Nightshade, Daniel composed himself before addressing the unknown fleet. This is Captain Daniel Hayes of the Galactic Defense Force. You are approaching Council space to state your intentions. The response came in a cold, mechanical voice. We are the Zell Collective. Your territories will be added to our domain. Resistance is inadvisable. Susan's voice came through Daniel's comm. Show them why resistance is actually highly advisable. Daniel nodded to his weapons officer. The Nightshade's advanced systems locked onto the lead Zell ship, not to destroy, but to demonstrate capability. A precisely calibrated energy pulse disabled the ship's main weapons without harming its crew. This galaxy